In relationships, we overemphasize harmony way too much.
Yeah, this is for the people pleasers and the conflict avoiders.
And what happens over time when you're trying to be harmonious in relationships is actually you basically lose yourself. You lose yourself in each other. You come across as superficial. You're always attending to the needs and desires that you think the other person wants. And actually, you aren't showing up in your full, real, authentic self, your messy human self. So at the heart of this is a willingness, in fact, not to go for harmony, but actually to speak to truth. The truth of your experience, what it's like to be you. And that is just incredibly messy.
Yes, I think that if you are willing to risk impacting the other, to risk disconnection, to risk defensiveness, to risk hostility or anything like that, then you know we're really getting somewhere actually in conflict. Because if you're trying to manage and control the other person, you're essentially disempowering them, because you're sort of, in a strange way, kind of manipulating, bubble wrapping them, not trusting that they can fully receive you in your anger and your frustration, or your hurt and your pain. And so the biggest mindset shift is really, can I really trust that truth is more important than harmony? Truth over harmony. If you notice that you're treading on eggshells around it, if you notice you're trying to time the conflict perfectly, those are really good telltale signs that perhaps you're trying to engage in some kind of managing of the conflict.
And I wanted to speak to what Haneen said as well about trust, because I've noticed this in my friendships, my relationships, that over time, if I don't see people actually speak up for their needs, their boundaries, and say no, I actually trust them a lot less over time. I need to see someone's imperfections for me to realize, oh, they're safe, feeling safe enough to be their honest self. And then I can relax and I can actually be safe to be my honest, very messy sometimes self, with all my imperfect needs.
Why is truth important? It might sound like an obvious question. If we're not willing to let ourselves be known and seen, then we are essentially just performing a version of ourselves and then actually adding to the story that we're not lovable as we are. And so that's why if we can really allow ourselves to be seen and to have that touch the other person, you can come into greater truth about what really is and be able to meet each other's needs and desires. Otherwise, you're not really going to get what you actually want because you're too busy trying to protect the other.
Yeah. And it's kind of ironic because if you can actually see someone's vulnerability and you can feel them in their messiness, you feel more connected, which I think is the story we tell ourselves that's not the case.
There's a difference between types of vulnerability, right? Because we might think we're being vulnerable when we're shouting and going, oh my God, you really upset me. I'm so angry at you. And actually there's this layer underneath that often doesn't get touched, which is what I'm actually terrified of is that you don't really see me, or I don't know if I'll ever be enough for you, or am I good enough, or does what I have to say actually really matter? And that's what we're talking about when we say bringing your truth and your vulnerability. It's very hard. It's really hard. But yeah, I would say this is, to me, much better than any perfected nonviolent communication tool.
If you want to lean into more difficult conversations in your life and have more intimacy and connection,
then feel free to check out our group programs or book a one-to-one coaching call with Georgie or I.